At 74, Tom Watson lives what many would call a tragic life. The golf legend sits alone in his Kansas City home, holding on to traditions that the modern world has left behind. His lawyer just revealed the depth of his moral battles. A man who fought harder for golf's honor than he ever did for his own happiness. But this isn't the story you think it is. Tom Watson was born September 4th, 1949, in Kansas City, Missouri. At just 6 years old, he was already caddying for his father, learning the game that would define his entire existence. Most kids played with toys. Tom studied golf swings. He wasn't just athletic. Watson earned a psychology degree from Stanford University in 1971. This wasn't just book smarts. It was the foundation of what made him golf's greatest thinking player. He understood minds, pressure, and how to break opponents mentally. But first, he had to survive his own breakdown. The 1973 U.S. Open nearly ended Watson's career before it started. He led for 3 rounds, then collapsed completely in the final round with a devastating 79. Most players would quit. Watson found Byron Nelson. Nelson didn't just fix Watson's swing, he rebuilt his mind. Nelson taught him that failure wasn't the end, it was fuel. This mentorship transformed Watson from a choker into a killer. Every major championship that followed started with that lesson in survival. By the late 1970s, Watson owned golf, but his greatest battles weren't against the course. They were against Jack Nicklaus, the man everyone called the greatest ever. The 1977 Open Championship at Turnberry became legendary as the duel in the sun. Watson and Nicklaus separated themselves from everyone else after 3 rounds, tied at 7 under par. The final day turned into pure theater. Nicklaus jumped ahead early with a long birdie putt on the 4th hole. Commentators thought Watson was finished, but Watson battled back, making birdies on the 5th, 7th, and 8th holes to tie it up again. They traded shots all day like heavyweight boxers. Nicklaus birdied the 12th to take a 2-shot lead. Watson answered with birdies on the 13th and an incredible putt from off the green at the 15th to tie again. Then came the 17th hole. Watson found the green in 2 shots and made birdie. Nicklaus missed a short putt and settled for par. For the first time all day, Watson led by 1 stroke. On the 18th tee, both players drove well, but Nicklaus found the rough. Most players would play safe. Nicklaus slashed an 8-iron onto the front of the green and sank a 35-foot putt for birdie. He finished with a bogey-free 66. Watson needed birdie to win. He calmly sank his 2-foot putt for his 2nd consecutive 65. His final score of 268 was 8 strokes better than the previous Open record. They walked off the 18th green arm in arm, enemies on the course, gentlemen in victory. 5 years later, Watson delivered the most clutch shot in golf history. The 1982 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach should never have been Watson's tournament. He was playing some of his worst golf in memory, admitting his swing was awful. But Watson made a crucial decision. Instead of fixing his swing, he spent almost all his practice time on chips and pitch shots around the greens. This preparation saved his career. In the final round, Watson found himself tied with Nicklaus on the par 3 17th hole. Watson hooked his 2-iron into heavy rough left of the flag, about 15 feet from the pin on a tough downhill slope. His caddy, Bruce Edwards, urged him to get it close. Watson looked at him and said, "I'm going to hole it." He executed an impossibly delicate chip shot that popped into the air, landed on the slope, and careened into the flagstick before dropping in for birdie. Nicklaus, watching from the scoring area, knew it was over. He said Watson couldn't make that shot in 1,000 times. But Watson's confidence wasn't luck. It was preparation meeting opportunity. Watson sealed his only U.S. Open victory with a birdie on 18, winning by 2 strokes. The "I'm going to hole it" moment became golf legend. Watson's greatest dominance came on links courses. His 5 Open Championship victories stand as a monument to adaptability. Most American golfers struggle with links golf's firm ground, unpredictable weather, and strategic. Watson thrived on it. He won Opens at Carnoustie in 1975, Turnberry in 1977, Muirfield in 1980, Royal Troon in 1982, and Royal Birkdale in 1983. Each victory showcased his unmatched touch around the greens and fearless putting on lightning-fast surfaces. The most remarkable chapter came 26 years later. At age 59, in the 2009 Open Championship, Watson nearly won his 6th title. He led going into the final holes before losing in a playoff. But his performance that week proved his links mastery transcended age. The respect and admiration from that near miss only grew his legend. But Watson's principles often put him at odds with the modern world. In 1994, CBS commentator Gary McCord made a playful comment about Augusta National's 17th green, joking that, "I don't think they mow these greens, I think they bikini wax them." He added a quip about body bags behind the green for players who missed their shots. Watson was furious. He sent a handwritten letter to CBS golf producer Frank Cherkinian, written in pencil and addressed to Augusta National. Watson called McCord a legion on golf and the Howard Stern of golf, demanding his removal from Masters coverage. Augusta National and CBS acted swiftly. McCord was quietly removed from all future Masters broadcasts, though he continued covering other golf events until 2019. Watson's reaction revealed his character, moral absolutism, and fierce protection of what he saw as golf's integrity. This wasn't just about a joke. It was about preserving the sacred nature of the game. Speaking of watching golf, if Tom Watson were tuning in today, he'd probably prefer the old-school cable setup. But we've got the new-school answer. Thanks to Fubo, you can catch every major tournament without the chaos of traditional cable. All the golf coverage you want, none of the hassle. Check the link below to get started. Watson's traditionalism became a liability during his 2014 Ryder Cup captaincy. Selected to lead the U.S. team, Watson was immediately criticized as being out of touch with PGA Tour players. His authoritarian approach during the tournament at Gleneagles excluded players from decision-making. Phil Mickelson publicly criticized Watson in the post-loss press conference, saying the team had strayed from a winning formula by not involving players. Watson clearly didn't have his 12 players on his side. The U.S. team lost decisively, 16.5 to 11.5. The defeat led directly to formation of the task force, giving players greater control in future Ryder Cups. European captain Paul McGinley observed that Watson's personality had no gray areas, it's black or it's white, and many American players resented that approach. Despite the criticism, Watson took the high ground and never retaliated publicly. Today, Watson continues speaking out on golf's challenges. He's expressed dismay at the fractured state of professional golf, particularly the division between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. He believes this split is hurting the game and hopes for swift resolution. At the 2025 Masters, Watson stated he doesn't see a real working mechanism for the two tours to get back together, citing the PGA Tour's conflicting event rule as a major hurdle. But Watson's legacy extends far beyond controversy. At 75, he serves as an honorary starter at the Masters tournament alongside Jack Nicklaus, a role that signifies his enduring status as a revered figure. He continues designing golf courses internationally and supports ALS research following his second wife Hillary's death from the disease in 2019. Most importantly, Watson created the Watson Links program, bridging the gap from golf lessons to actual course play for young golfers. The program provides free golf opportunities and mentorship, partnering with Patrick Mahomes' foundation and Big Brothers Big Sisters Kansas City. Watson Links has tripled its scope for the 2025 season, partnering with 11 additional First Tee chapters. This isn't just charity, it's Watson ensuring golf's future honors the game's traditions while welcoming new players. Despite past controversies and his often austere public demeanor, Watson remained one of golf's most popular players as the 21st century unfolded. His principles, while sometimes divisive, ultimately contributed to deep and enduring public affection. So behind that tragic life headline is a man who never stopped giving back. Tom Watson isn't forgotten or alone. He just stepped into a quieter legacy, one built on teaching young golfers, supporting medical research, and defending the traditions that made golf great. Watson's career embodies a killer competitive drive, balanced with a deep moral compass. He won 8 major championships, defeated Jack Nicklaus in legendary battles, and mastered links golf like no other American. But his greatest victory might be this. In a world that often chooses profit over principle, Tom Watson chose honor. That's not tragic. That's timeless.